Why is project contingency negotiation so challenging? Imagine trying to agree on how much extra money or time to set aside for surprises that might pop up during a project. It sounds simple, but it's actually quite tricky. When project managers talk about managing project contingency, they are discussing how to plan for unexpected events that could affect costs or schedules. This is part of the initial planning and budgeting process. The goal is to have enough reserve resources to handle risks without overspending or underpreparing. But negotiating these reserves can be tough because everyone has different ideas about what might happen and how much should be set aside. One big challenge is figuring out what risks could happen in the first place. Some risks are easy to spot, like a supplier delay or a permit issue. But others are hard to predict, like a natural disaster or sudden regulation change. Because risks can be so different and unpredictable, agreeing on a contingency amount becomes complicated. People may see risks differently and have varying levels of comfort with uncertainty. Some might want a large contingency fund to be safe, while others want to keep costs low. Finding a middle ground takes careful discussion and understanding. Budget constraints also make this negotiation tricky. Projects often have tight budgets, and stakeholders may resist allocating extra funds for contingencies. They might see it as unnecessary or as money that could be better spent on other parts of the project. But if contingency funds are too small, the project risks running over budget if surprises happen. Balancing the need for enough reserve funds with the desire to stay within budget is a constant challenge. Communication issues can make negotiations even harder. Some stakeholders might think contingency planning is just extra padding or waste. Others may not fully understand how contingency funds are used or why they are important. If the purpose of contingency is not clearly explained, disagreements can arise. Transparency is key, but often it is lacking because contingency funds are not always explicitly listed or tracked in budgets. Sometimes they are hidden within bids or unit prices, which makes it harder to see how much is reserved for risks. This lack of clarity can lead to mistrust and confusion. Organizational culture and team dynamics also play a role. Some teams are very focused on sticking to the original plan and may be reluctant to discuss or negotiate contingency. Conflicting priorities or policies can slow down or block these conversations. Without a shared understanding that contingency planning is part of good risk management, negotiations become more difficult. Finally, projects are always changing. Early on, when little information is available, larger contingency reserves are needed. As the project moves forward and more details are known, contingency can be reduced. Negotiating these adjustments requires ongoing conversations and flexibility, which can be hard to maintain among busy teams and stakeholders. To handle these challenges, project managers should involve all key players early in the process. Using structured risk assessments helps determine appropriate contingency amounts based on likelihood and impact. Clear communication about the purpose of contingency as a risk management tool is essential. Maintaining transparency about how contingency funds are allocated and used builds trust. Creating a culture that values contingency planning as part of project success encourages better negotiations. Regularly reviewing and adjusting contingency amounts as new information comes in keeps the plan realistic. By mastering these skills, project managers can better navigate the tricky waters of contingency negotiation. This helps projects stay on track, even when surprises happen, and ensures everyone is prepared for the unexpected.